Hello and welcome to this detailed session where we will walk through a C program designed to calculate the sum of the first and natural numbers. This fundamental program introduces some of the core programming concepts in C, such as loops, variables, and user input. By the end of this presentation, you will have a strong understanding of how the program works and how to write your own variations of it. Let's get started. In this presentation, we will break down the logic of a simple C program that computes the sum of the first and natural numbers. Whether you are a beginner or looking to brush up on your C programming skills, this example will help reinforce key concepts like user input, loop constructs, and basic arithmetic. The goal here is to understand how to write a program that interacts with the user, processes their input, and gives a useful output. This program is ideal for beginners who want to learn how loops and variables work in tandem. Our objective for this program is straightforward. Calculate the sum of first and natural numbers. The user will input a number n and the program will return the sum of all numbers from 1 to n. The problem is simple, but it introduces essential concepts in C that you will need for more complex programs. The input is a positive integer n and the output is the sum of all integers from 1 through n. For example, if n is 5, the program should return 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, which is equals to 15. Now that we understand the problem, let's look at the step-by-step logic of the program. The program follows a clear sequence of steps. First, it asks the user to enter a positive integer, which will represent the value n. Then the program needs to compute the sum of all numbers from 1 to n, which can be done using a loop. We can simply iterate from 1 up to n, adding each number to a cumulative sum variable. Finally, the program outputs the calculated sum. Each of these steps is a basic example of how loops and user input are utilized in C programming to solve programs. The logic is simple but effective, and it's a building block for many more advanced problems. Let's dive into the first part of the program, including the necessary libraries. In C, we need to include libraries that allow us to use functions like printf and scanf. These functions are essential for displaying output and accepting user input. The library we are using here is stdio.h, which stands for Standard Input Output. Without this library, we would not be able to interact with the user, so it's critical for any program that requires input or output. Including libraries at the top of our program is a standard practice and allows us to access a wide range of built-in functionality in C. Now let's move on to step 2, declaring variables. In this program, we need to store the number entered by the user and the running total. We declare two variables, n to store the user input and sum, which will keep track of the total sum as we calculate it. Initially, we set sum to 0, since we haven't added anything yet. Declaring variables is a fundamental concept in any programming language, and in C, we must specify the data type of each variable, like int for integers in this case. Step 3 is where we ask the user for input. The program prompts the user with the message, enter a positive integer using the printf function. This message appears on the screen telling the user what kind of input is expected. Then we use scanf to capture the user's input and store it in the variable n. The scanf function reads the user's input from the console and stores it in the variable specified by the address operator ampersand. In this case, ampersand n tells the program where to store the number entered by the user. It's important to ensure the user enters a valid positive number, and we will look at error handling later in the program. Now comes the heart of the program, the loop. In step 4, we use a for loop to iterate through the numbers from 1 to n. The loop starts with I equals to 1 and runs until I reaches the value of n. Each time the loop runs, the current value of I is added to the sum variable. This is achieved by the line sum assigned sum plus I, which adds the value of I to sum. If n is 5, the loop will add 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, calculating the total sum as it goes. The loop is a critical concept in programming, especially for tasks like summing numbers, iterating through lists, and more. In step 5, we display the result. After the loop completes, the program uses printf to output the final value of sum, which is the total sum of all numbers from 1 to n. This is where the program presents the result to the user, showing them the outcome of their input. For example, if the user entered 5, the output would be the sum of the first 5 numbers is 15. This step concludes the program, providing the user with a clear answer to their output. Here is the full program code, which includes all the steps we have discussed. The program starts by including the necessary libraries and declaring the variables. It then prompts the user for input, calculates the sum using a loop, and finally displays the result. This code demonstrates a basic but essential programming technique in C, which will form the foundation for many more complex programs. If you are new to programming, take a moment to carefully study each part of this code and understand how each element contributes to solving the problem. Let's look at a sample output. When the user enters the number 5, the program will calculate the sum of the numbers 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. The program outputs the result, the sum of the first 5 integers is 15. This demonstrates how the program interacts with the user and provides a meaningful result based on the input. It's important to note that the program can handle any positive integer entered by the user, and it will return the correct sum every time. In conclusion, this program gives a simple but powerful introduction to C programming. We covered essential concepts like user input, variables, loops, and output. These are all building blocks that we will encounter frequently as you write more complex programs in C. Understanding how to calculate sums and perform basic iterations is a foundational skill that will help you tackle more advanced programming challenges. Keep experimenting with variations of this program to deepen your understanding of loops and user input in C. That wraps up our presentation on calculating the sum of first n integers using C program. I hope you now have a clearer understanding of how this program works and how you can apply similar techniques to other problems. If you have any questions or would like further clarification on any part of the program, feel free to ask. I'm here to help.